Good evening, and welcome back to Digital Mysteries. Tonight, we are digging into a story so outlandish, so rich in Cold War relics and Miami swagger, it makes the best Hollywood thrillers look like bedtime stories. Forget the deep web, forget crypto heists for a moment. Our focus is on Ludwig Feinberg, a 39-year-old club owner known as Tarzan, driving his white Jaguar convertible down Northwest 36th Street in Miami. The year is 1997. The screaming sirens erupting behind him signal the end of that life. Unmarked SUVs, armed federal agents, the works. The charge? Operation Odessa. The central, unbelievable fact was this. Tarzan was trying to broker the sale of a 300-foot Soviet Foxtrot-class submarine to the Cali drug cartel for $35 million. It was a Cold War hunter, now intended to smuggle 40 tons of cocaine, invisible to radar, unstoppable by law. This isn't just organized crime, it's a geopolitical catastrophe averted. But to understand the true threat, the unseen framework that made this deal possible, we have to talk about the cyber conspiracy. To trace the roots of Operation Odessa, we must rewind decades to Odessa, Ukraine, 1975. Young Leonid Feinberg, the future Ludwig, learned the essential Soviet lesson. Survival isn't about strength, it's about favors. His first hustle was crude, risky, and profitable, forging papers for draft dodgers. He moves to Israel, then, in the early 80 seconds, to the U.S. Leonid is gone. Ludwig stands in his place. Miami gives him power, and his club, Porky's, becomes the intersection where Russian mobsters, Colombian traffickers, and corrupt brokers all do business. Tarzan doesn't move the drugs, he moves influence. Now, this is where the digital mysteries element comes in. When the Soviet Union collapsed, it wasn't just physical fleets that were abandoned. It was the entire informational architecture of a superpower. Personnel records, communication codes, financial data, and crucially, logistical supply chains for the military were scattered and vulnerable. This data was easily exploited by those who knew how to find the cracks in the digital dam. Porky's Club, Miami, December 1994. The Cali cartel emissaries make their request. A vessel to move 40 tons of cargo, completely undetected. The price? $35 million. Tarzan's immediate thought turns not just to rusting hardware, but to his Rolodex of ex-KGB men and ex-officers. These were men who, in the 90 seconds, weren't just taking bribes of cash and vodka. They were also selling digital access. Think about it. How do you take a 300-foot Foxtrot-class submarine, one of the largest pieces of Cold War hardware, and make it vanish from all global shipping registers? It requires more than a simple forged bill of sale. It requires a sophisticated manipulation of the global maritime database. This is the true cyber conspiracy at the heart of Operation Odessa. Tarzan was exploiting the vast, unmanaged data decay of the former Soviet Union. He assembled a team of ex-KGB operatives who could forge government documents that passed digital scrutiny. Maritime lawyers specialized in shell companies registered in countries that didn't share electronic ownership data. They were creating a perfect virtual paper trail to mask a massive physical object. The DEA recognized this wasn't just a drug deal, it was a national security threat. Operation Odessa was launched in March 1995. For 2 years, the agencies gathered intelligence, 15,000 hours of wiretaps and electronic tracking of money, travel, and shipping. But even the federal task force ran into its own digital mysteries. Remember the pressure point in August 1995? Tarzan's partners, like Juan Almeida, started getting paranoid about the undercover agent, Sasha. Why was he always there? This paranoia climaxed at the infamous dollhouse sting. Tarzan aborted the deal because a partner called with an urgent alert. The cartel detected federal surveillance on another Miami operation. How? It's ground. This brings us to one of the enduring, unsolved cyber cases of the mid-90 seconds. The use of untraceable, custom-built malware designed specifically to sniff out law enforcement communications. Was it the cartel? Was it one of Tarzan's rogue KGB contacts testing their digital muscle? The source of that surveillance alert, the missing, mysterious piece of code, has never been definitively traced. It's the phantom digital bullet that narrowly missed its target. The walls finally close in, culminating in Tarzan's dramatic arrest in January 1997. Prosecutors felt they had an airtight case, enough for decades in prison. But Feinberg, the hustler, was not panicking. He knew the true weapon wasn't the submarine he tried to buy. It was the intelligence he possessed. This is where the cyber conspiracy pays off for him. At the federal detention center, Tarzan's lawyer makes the opening move. Ludwig offered to share intelligence on global arms trafficking networks, specifically detailing the digital vulnerabilities. He mapped out laundered money channels that exploited new, deregulated international banking networks. He identified Russian bases quietly selling equipment and explained how they did it, using encrypted messaging protocols and untraceable digital wallets long before Bitcoin made headlines. He detailed how traffickers use data manipulation to hide container ships, making physical interdiction practically impossible. The image that emerged was a post-Cold War criminal order fueled by digital chaos. Faced with this flood of intelligence, prosecutors brokered a deal: 33 months in federal prison, cooperation, and permanent removal from the U.S. The man who tried to weaponize a Soviet submarine for the cocaine trade walked free in under 3 years. He walked free because he understood the power of information and the digital blind spots of law enforcement. So, what are the lessons we take away from Operation Odessa? Not just as a historical crime, but as a blueprint for the modern cyber conspiracy. This is where the experience in countering and preventing digital age crime becomes essential. We must prioritize digital intelligence sharing across jurisdictions. The collapse of the Soviet Union created an intelligence vacuum, and today, that vacuum exists in unmanaged IoT devices or emerging DeFi protocols. Prevention means patching those digital holes before they become smuggling conduits. Secondly, logistics is the new frontline. Physical assets are masked by digital records. Law enforcement must train teams to detect anomalies in global shipping manifests and financial ledgers, using AI and machine learning to spot data sets that have been digitally scrubbed. Finally, there is the power of the whistleblower. Tarzan's deal showed that the greatest vulnerability in a conspiracy is its human network. Offering channels for high-level technical criminals to cooperate is vital. Sometimes, the most effective defense against a complex cyber conspiracy is the insider who built it. Ludwig Feinberg bent the system, escaped life in prison, and then vanished. He taught the world a terrifying lesson. In the age of digital decay, everything is for sale, and the ultimate black market isn't a dockside, it's a database. The question lingers: if a man who sold a Cold War sub to the Cali cartel could walk free in under 3 years, what digital mischief might he be doing now? Thanks for joining us on Digital Mysteries. Stay safe and stay encrypted.